In the quiet hours before dawn on a cool September night in Beijing, a sudden scream pierced the air of the Chaoyang district. A neighbor walking a dog froze, turning toward the tall glass towers of the Sunshine Upper East complex. The lights of the city shimmered faintly in the distance, and a strange silence followed. Moments later, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed through the courtyard as people rushed toward the base of the building. There, a young man lay still, his identity unknown until the early morning light revealed what no one could believe. The lifeless body belonged to Yu Menglong, the adored actor and singer whose name had filled concert halls and television screens across China. The city would never feel the same again. The night before, a small gathering had taken place inside one of the apartments on a higher floor. Music drifted through the rooms, laughter rose and fell. Glasses clinked, and friends spoke of projects, fame, and the future. You had been there among them, cheerful yet distracted, smiling yet distant. He had arrived late, dressed in quiet tones, and stayed close to a small group near the balcony. Witnesses said he excused himself just before 2 a.m. and locked himself inside one of the bedrooms. The laughter outside slowly faded as some guests left, some dozed off, and others scrolled through their phones, unaware that a nightmare was unfolding a few feet away. The next hours became a blur. The neighbors later recalled hearing a faint sound like a gust of wind. When the security guard arrived, he saw what had happened but could not explain how. The window of the room was open, the safety screen torn, the curtains fluttering in the draft. Police arrived swiftly. Cameras flashed, the area was sealed, and soon, official cars surrounded the scene. The early reports labeled it a tragic accident, a fall that ended the life of a man too young, too talented, too full of promise. Authorities later confirmed that Yu Menglong had been drinking that night. The police stated that there were no signs of struggle, no evidence of foul play, and no criminal involvement. His mother, heartbroken yet composed, released a statement saying her son had accidentally fallen after consuming alcohol. She pleaded with the public to respect their grief, to stop spreading speculation, to let him rest in peace. It was meant to calm the storm, but instead, it stirred the air even more violently. As dawn gave way to day, the internet erupted. Messages flooded social media platforms, some mourning, others questioning, and many whispering theories too wild to ignore. One post claimed to have seen a screenshot of a message Yu had sent to his mother only hours before his fall. In it, he allegedly wrote about being trapped in a situation he could not escape, about money he could not touch, about things that made him sick every time he saw them. The message ended with words that broke hearts everywhere. "They will come for me soon," it said, "but I did nothing wrong." Whether true or fabricated, it spread faster than any official report ever could. Rumors grew with each passing day. Some claimed the safety mesh on the window had been intact when police arrived, impossible for someone to fall through without help. Others swore that security footage from the night had vanished or been wiped clean. Then came talk of strange phone calls, anonymous accounts, and friends who deleted their posts right after the tragedy. Police later detained several individuals for spreading false information, but their arrests only made the mystery feel deeper, as if truth itself was being locked away behind invisible walls. Even as the authorities repeated that it was an accident, the inconsistencies lingered like fog that refused to lift. Why had the window been open in early autumn, when the air was already cold? Why did no one hear the sound of breaking glass or a cry for help? Why had some guests left so abruptly before dawn? Why did the entire investigation close so quickly, leaving behind only statements but no detailed reports? Each question became a seed for another theory, and each theory grew into a new version of the same haunting story. Fans could not stop imagining the last moments of their idol. They pictured him alone in that dimly lit room, staring out at the sleeping city. Perhaps he was dizzy, confused, overwhelmed by pressure. Perhaps the world had become too heavy, the whispers too loud. Perhaps he leaned against the window, seeking air, unaware of how close he stood to the edge. Or perhaps someone else was there, someone whose presence was never recorded, someone who knew exactly what happened that night. Inside the apartment, investigators photographed every corner, measured every angle, and took samples that would later vanish into reports never seen by the public. Outside, the street filled with silent mourners, holding candles that flickered in the wind. His music played softly from a phone on the ground, his voice echoing through the crowd like a ghost who refused to say goodbye. People wept openly. Some prayed. Others filmed, their faces pale under the glow of their screens. Then came the statement from officials declaring the case closed. They insisted there was no foul play, only an unfortunate accident. Yet the removal of online posts, the deletion of comments, and the suspension of entire discussion threads only deepened suspicion. It seemed that every attempt to silence the noise only amplified it. Screenshots continued to circulate, each one darker and more dramatic than the last. Weeks later, the city seemed to move on, but his fans did not. They kept gathering, leaving flowers and letters beneath the tall building where he fell. Some said they could still hear his voice there at night, a soft hum carried by the wind. Others claimed to see shadows on the glass, a figure that looked out from the upper floor before fading away. Journalists tried to dig deeper, but interviews were cut short and sources went quiet. And yet, despite all the silence, one truth remains. Yu Menglong is gone, and how he left this world will never feel complete in the hearts of those who loved him. Whether he stumbled in despair, leaned too far in confusion, or was pushed by forces unseen, the world may never know. His story is now a mirror, reflecting the fragile line between fame and fear, between truth and secrecy. It is a reminder that sometimes, what hides behind a smile can be darker than anyone dares to imagine. In the end, the lights of Beijing still glitter every night, the city still moves, and the shows he starred in still play across glowing screens. But somewhere in that endless skyline, a single window still stands open in memory, whispering the same unanswered question that haunts every fan, every friend, every quiet soul who once believed in him. What really happened to Yu Menglong that night, and why does the truth still feel just out of reach?